rotten apples. A lot of troublemakers in Burton, starting with last year's loser in the mayoral race, Danny Wells, along with Matthew Smith, who was his campaign manager, and a whole lot of cops. All the cops in Burton except for the chief. And I got to clear the chief's name. All this stuff about him sleeping with fellow officers and sexual harassment and all the rumors started by cops. And this isn't the first time these guys have done this. You know, they went after Charlie Smiley. It's a good old boys network. And I uncovered a whole lot of stuff looking into what's going on in the city of Burton. I began looking into the chief because of an incident where 7 tenants had more than 100 vehicles at a car drive property. Unbelievable. I spoke out about it at a Burton City Council meeting. I thought the chief was the bad guy in this. It turns out this was a bunch of bad guys from the police department. I have recordings of numerous tapes of police officers telling citizens to get the hell out of Burton. You know, I brought this up once back in May, I believe, maybe June, in Steve Hefner, the city council president, said, I'd like to hear those tapes. Well, you'd think he would have gone over and maybe FOIA them like we did. Still waiting for our FOIAs, but I don't need them because I have tapes of the tenants taping these cops. It's despicable. It's shameful. And by the way, not taking a police report, Phil Hart, the commander at the state police post for 27 years, now the police chief out in Genesee Township, he confirmed for me what the law is and the fact that police officers must take a police report. Now, you don't have to investigate the crime, but you've got to take a report. Not in Burton. And we've had numerous citizens tell us that's what happens. Now, we've had Dwayne Haskins, his 4 years as mayor. He's had a lot of trouble with fellow city council members, employees. He has a former financial lady. He tried to have her arrested. David Layton should have arrested her, in my opinion. Now, Dwayne Haskins has been smeared by this woman. It's shameful. Matthew Smith coming from Davison to speak at council meetings. Todd Sorensen coming from Genesee Township to speak out against the mayor. He know not what he talk about. He's clueless. We've investigated it, and not just myself. We've had some people looking at it. Matter of fact, I'm at a point where I believe we need to call for the National Guard to come in for the city of Flint. And for Burton, maybe we ought to send the Genesee County Sheriff out there until we can get the police department under control. 30 days, we need to just lay everybody off. If Tina Conley wins the election, she's going to fire the chief anyway. I think it's time to clean house and get rid of all. I mean, every last officer except maybe a handful. And let the sheriff go in and run the place for 30 days and figure out what to do and hire some new officers. That's my vote. Dwayne Haskins, you know, there are lawsuits flying. He hasn't been able to tell his side of the story. The lawsuit that was just filed by the police chief sheds a lot of light on everything. My endorsement is for Dwayne Haskins for mayor of Burton to be reelected. I think he's done a great job out there, except for all the fighting with council members. And let's get rid of some council members, and that'll take care of that. Tina Conley's already running for mayor, and she's risking her spot. I remember she called me to ask if I'd give her a fair shot way back on the filing deadline day. I said, I'm not on the radio right now, but I hope to get back on the radio. And if I do, I'll give you a fair shot. Keep in touch. I haven't heard from her since. Probably embarrassed that she has Matthew Smith and Danny Wells working on her campaign with a whole lot of troublemaker cops. And I'm going to say it. The good old boy network, it's been dismantled by Dwayne Haskins. He's in the process. You know, we had a 14-year veteran of the department arrested for ethnic intimidation. He's facing charges. We had a K-9 officer fired for stealing money. Burton had an officer down at the casino on tape apparently dating a married cop, by the way, and that was pretty bad. They fired him. He went to the sheriff's department, and we traced where all these bad, nasty rumors about the chief came from. It's from him and from some of the deputies at the Genesee County Sheriff's Department who have spread these tales all over this county, from one corner of the county to the other. And Brian Ross, he's a good man. I talked with Genesee County Sheriff Bob Pickell, and he mentioned that Brian Ross is also a very intelligent man. He's got one of those high IQs. He's in that special club, but more importantly than the honesty and the character and the integrity, former Sheriff Pickell talked about Brian Ross coming forward to help fire some of the bad apple officers or deputies at the Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Chris Swanson has said that Dwayne Haskins and Brian Ross are of the highest possible caliber of integrity and honesty. These are good guys. And it's shameful what these Burton police officers have done to them. Just shameful. You know, and not only these guys, the leaders. One lieutenant got demoted. Another lieutenant, this Jones character that sued the city, he was fired. And I gave Dwayne Haskins a tape of an incident with this guy drunk in a bar at Sharky's. Almost the entire police force off duty at Burton was there for 7.5 hours drinking. I have recordings from waitresses, from people in the bar. It was terrible. And this Jones character, he went after this young girl. The young girl's boyfriend comes out of the restroom, and he starts getting into it with him. The boyfriend takes the girl outside to leave, and they're chanting, "Kick his ass, kick his ass," the Burton cops. This guy goes out in the parking lot. 3 big guys go out to make sure that everything's okay. He pulls out a badge. He threatens to kill the guy, the boyfriend of this young girl. These 3 guys go up on the hill at Speedway. If you look where the Sharky's is, they watch this incident. They call 911, and they want to be anonymous because he flashed a badge at them. And he's getting in his car maybe to drive away. They said to the state police, "Hey, this guy, he might get in his car and drive to the 911 call." And the state police said they'd keep it anonymous. A few minutes later, 2 cop cars pull in. One of them, this Jones character, he goes over to the cop car, starts talking, goes around to the other side, and the phone rings of the guy who made the 911 call anonymously. Terrible. And then it gets worse. He calls 911 and tells the supervisor, "Hey, this guy, I want to be anonymous. This guy's a cop, and he's threatening me." They said, "Well, make a complaint with the Burton police." He tried doing that. He got a call from a sheriff. A sergeant. And this sergeant, he works in another local police department over in the city of Davison. His name's Driggett. I want you to listen how he talked to this guy who wanted a complaint on the Burton officer who was drunk in public and threatening to kill people and threatened to beat him up. And here's the officer's phone call. This is chilling. And if this guy is still a police officer after this show goes today, something's wrong with law enforcement in Genesee County. This guy needs to be removed. Mayor Bishop, this guy's got to go. I want you to listen to this recording and think about this. A guy calls to prevent a drunk driver, to prevent a young guy from being beaten up. And by the way, this guy tape recorded the young guy who had his life threatened by a police officer. Listen to this call.
Hi, Sergeant Driggett, City Burton Police.
Yes.
Hi, you called?
I called for what? What's that?
Someone from your phone number called 911 reference trouble at the Sharky's.
Yes.
Who else here? That's what I mean. Did you call?
I'm sorry, what was that?
That's what I mean. Did you call? There's no name. It's just an anonymous male call for trouble. Just trying to figure out what's going on out there.
Where are you calling from? Who is this?
The Sergeant Briggett. I'm with the Burton Police Department. You called the Burton Police, called 911, and someone did from this phone number reference trouble at Sharky's.
I'll be dealing with the state police on this.
You'll be dealing with the state police. Well, I got an idea. Go to our station. We'll deal with it one-on-one, okay?
One-on-one. I already had the guy call me. We've got a major problem here. So I'm going to have the state deal with this and internal affairs.
I am internal affairs.
You are internal affairs?
Yes.
What's your name?
Sergeant Briggett.
All right. What's your badge number?
586.
All right. And what's your phone number I can reach you? You're calling from your private number.
Yeah, I don't give out my private cell phone number. I'm on the road running calls. If you want to reach me, call the office at 810-742-2542.
All right. Were you the officer that showed up to help them out?
My extension is 2508.
Okay. Were you the officer that showed up?
Yes.
Okay. Then why did that guy call me and threaten me?
I don't know.
How did he get my phone number?
Good guess.
That's why internal affairs is going to look into this, and you're not internal affairs.
Well, we don't have internal affairs. That's what sergeants
Well,
for.
that's why I'm going to take this up with the state, because if I called something in on an anonymous tip because somebody's acting the way I just said, and he calls to threaten
me. Hey, guess what? 911's not an anonymous tip. 911's public information, buddy. That's what you.
Then
don't
why
realize.
would he call me?
You want to pick up your phone and call 911 and make some type of accusation? You better bet that's public information. There's nothing anonymous or secretive about it. It's all public information. So before you start throwing shit at me, you better understand what you're talking about.
I'm not throwing shit at anyone, but you know what?
Well, clearly you are, because you're calling 911 reference trouble, but you're hiding behind whatever's going on.
I'm not hiding behind anything.
Situation. Then who are you and what's going on?
I'll deal with this tomorrow. This is not cool what you guys are doing.
Exactly. You're hiding it. You don't want to tell me who you are or what's going on.
There's nothing.
All right, we're the Burton Police. I will tell you this right now. The state police will not do anything with this. They're going to tell you to go to Burton, and I can guarantee you that's exactly what they're going to do. So before you think you're going to call around to the state and county office on the full shit, they're not going to deal with it. I've been doing this for 13 years. I'm not stupid. Now, if you have a problem and you're calling 911, but you want to hide behind your name and not tell what's going on,